So this is Christie's. She had to resubmit because we had a problem, that sort of history problem we were encountering before. And so yeah, it's a good looking model for the most part. You are going to want to put your character on the origin. A good trick for that is if we put the pivot back in the center of the character. And I can see, you mentioned you lost symmetry, and when I look at this right away, I can kind of see some asymmetrical stuff going on here. So why don't we start out by fixing the symmetry? So I'm just going to hit 1 for rough mode. Hold down hotbox, click in center, go to front view, F for frame selected. Oh, he's facing this way. Okay, right view, how's that? Better. Okay, right mouse click, face, and I'm going to try to select half of this character. And let's just double check our work to make sure that I got exactly half and nothing extra, and that looks pretty good, I think. Oop. Okay. And yeah, you've got that pulled over to the side too, which could cause an issue. Okay. Oh, and what is this? Alright, I just deleted it. Okay, so now let's go to object mode, select. Let's get this pivot point along the center. Maybe I'll put it at this center of this crotch here. So hold down D for pivot move mode, V for point snap, middle mouse drag, and that'll snap right there. Constrain to this Z axis, front view, keep doing that, right view. Hold down X for grid snap, and doesn't want to snap for me. Interesting. Okay, let me try that again. There we go. Alright, so that's in the center, and now we have to make sure all of these are in the center line. So to do that, right mouse click, edge, double click. It takes that whole edge around, and make sure I'm in move mode. Make sure this is set to absolute, and actually this is Z, so Z is 0, and you should see, whoops, keep doing that. You should see this go along the center when I type 0, enter here, 0, enter, good. Nice clean center line. Let's do the same for this point right here. 0, enter, great. And good, so that's better. Now, I like to do just like a manual mirror. So duplicate is Control D, or edit duplicate. Scale -1 in the Z direction, because that's the Z direction. -1, enter. Shift select. Mesh combine, and make sure all the verts of this are selected. And edit mesh, merge components options. See, I can just reset this just to make sure, but 0.01 means only points within 0.01 will be merged with each other, and that should merge along the seam. So edit mesh, merge components. Not a bad idea to delete history at this point. Edit, delete by type, history. Let's take a look at him, and looks good. And okay. Let's see if symmetry works. Just to check in the modeling toolkit, symmetry. Okay. I'm surprised to see that, as you could hear. Let's do this to mesh separate, because those eyeballs should not be part of the rest of the mesh. I've been seeing a lot of people combine with those, and I don't know why. And let's check this again. And symmetry, still getting that error. Why is it not symmetrical? I don't know. I thought I was pretty careful. Okay, let's just try it again. Do a little faster this time, and this time without the eyes. Okay, to select half of the surface. Double check. Delete that half. That looks good. Double check that center line. Aha! Okay, well that's not good. Let's be more careful about selecting these faces. Okay, and gotta have that center line all the way around. Move mode, 0 in the Z. Probably won't change because I already did that. Object mode. Make sure this is in the center. X. Okay. Jeez, it sure does look right. Control D, channel box, scale Z -1. Mesh, combine, verts, edit mesh, merge components, edit delete by type history, select the edge, please work. Well, boy, am I stumped on this one. That usually works every time. Well, if anyone catches what I did wrong, let me know. Otherwise, what you can do, which I know is a little more work, is, focus on modeling on one side and then mirror it afterwards. Again, I don't know why that's happening. I've done that many times and not had that problem. So anyways, on to the critique. You'll definitely want to add some detail to these legs. I might just use multi-cut and just slice across these knees, and then start moving these points around to shape those a little bit better. The hands I'm concerned about because I guess they look cool, but an alien-like, but I'm just a little concerned about how and where do they bend? Where are the knuckles? How many joints are in each finger? And, if I were to look at this by the shape of these lumps, what it looks like to me is that the lumps are the knuckles, meaning that maybe these spherical parts at the end kind of bend here, and that just bends there. Anyways, in the shape of the model, and the amount of detail you have you'll want to really think about and define where are those fingers going to bend, and how limited your motion is going to be with those. Probably a little extra detail at the hips, and kind of maybe a little more shape to the legs, kind of get a clear knee shape here, maybe a little sort of push those in at the back. For the face, wait a minute, that is interesting. How did that happen? That funniness makes me think that's what's going on with the symmetry thing, but it's weird because then when I go to rough mode, that disappears. Something is awry with that. Not sure what's going on there. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, what I'd like you to do though is, if you go to rough mode, you got these very extreme pushes and pulls going on. And when you think about good topology, you think about all of the faces being roughly the same size. Not exactly, but any extremes are a problem. Anywhere we want to avoid, surfaces intersecting each other, like this guy here, so try to pull apart, where you see things intersecting, and don't just be looking at it in smooth mode, because that's where people tend to get themselves in a little bit of trouble with the shapes and stuff, and getting these kind of intersection things happening. So look to kind of not get these really extreme creases going on, and if you later need to add more detail, you can do that, but I would kind of try to pull some of this apart a little bit, so that you don't have these intersecting surfaces, and I don't know, it's just going to make things harder to work with as we go down the line. Yeah, see all this, that's really, it's a bit of a mess there because of all these kind of, everything kind of intersects everything else. And I understand how you get there when you're in smooth mode. You kind of pull things really far, but then when you see what happens in rough, you realize, sort of how far you had to go to do that. So try to kind of pull these apart. And you see kind of going back and forth helps me a little bit. And you still have pretty close to that shape. I mean, it's not as pinched as over here, but if you want additional pinch, like after you pull this apart, you might smooth in one level and that'll give you a whole bunch of extra detail to work with. But try and, by going back and forth between, yeah, I mean, yeah, look at that. That's all so extreme there. And when you look at what's really going on, it's a bit of a mess. So, um, yeah, try to pull some of this apart so it doesn't have all these intersecting surfaces. And hopefully you'll still be able to keep your shape, but I feel like I'm making a mess here, but you probably know your model better than me. And then, yeah, then once you get that pulled apart, then, maybe smooth the whole character level, then you'll have plenty of detail to work with to get these shapes back in. I think that has something to do with the problem, but I have no idea why that's happening. That's very curious. Okay, so yeah, hands, kind of pulling apart the extreme pulled verts, which is going to make it harder to work with later. And maybe some extra detail around the lids to be able to open and close them. You don't really have loops going around. It's a very unusual mouth. I'm not sure exactly what the concept is here, but anyways, some additional detail here to be able to make some face shapes. But anyways, it's a good looking character. It'll work. Just a little concerned about how do the hands bend, how do the fingers bend, and getting the head to not have quite such extreme topology. So we've got chord. Whoops, let's just go ahead and open that up. That's C. Rollinson. So okay, so this has moved forward. I almost have this whole feeling like he's leaning backwards a little bit. I don't like to look at these with the face center, so I'm going to go display polygons, face centers. Okay. Yeah, I mean the topology is generally looking good. Again, I don't know why people are combining their eyes. I don't. Anyways, don't do that. Yeah, it looks like this stuff is kind of much cleaner looking and pulled apart from what I remember. I think you could continue to add some more detail to lips, maybe another loop here and get a little bit of shape on that bottom lip. But yeah, that's looking better, I think. You've got some loops around the eyes a little bit, but yeah, it's really getting kind of tight here, and you've got some pretty extreme shapes there, so try and kind of even out this topology a little bit, sort of adjust the position of these. Let's see if his symmetry is working. Yay. Maybe kind of spread things out a little bit so they're not so tightly together, and while you're at it, trying to kind of give it a little bit more shape so things aren't sort of in a smooth line, and it's kind of rounding there a little bit. I still think maybe some more loops around the eyes so you have some surface to work with eyelids, because you don't really have enough here to start building eyelids, so keep adding loops and kind of pulling those loops in and up. Multi-cut. Is there loops around the eyes? Here? Oh, there is here, but not. Oh yeah, and that's, I mean, that goes back to this. So I guess, you know, here again, I think before you start adding um, any loops, just get the shape to match the roundness of the eyes a little bit more closely. You might want something here, maybe like there, and oops, sorry. Let's grab one of these guys. I like soft select. You know, I can get kind of help me round that out a little bit more. You know. Yeah, it's starting to a little bit more conform to the shape of the eye. Maybe even this. Oops. And then again here, I mean, there's not much. It's a big kind of face, so I might, you know, do that. And what I like to say, and I know this is a lot of work, but after you add a loop like that that goes all the way around, except it terminates here, which we should fix. Multi-cut being. I wonder why it's terminating there. Yeah, see, that's not a good sign. Something's a little funny about that. That looks perfectly normal. That seems to be going around now. Ah, and then it does that. Yeah, it's like there's some little hidden problem in here. Just kind of move a couple things around to see if I can find anything. Aha! There's a whole kind of hidden extra set of stuff here. That's the problem. So that is what was going on there, I guess. So it's not so much. So yeah, you're gonna want to shape that a little better and so forth. But yeah, there was like a little hidden almost surface there. So now I should be able to. See, it was there all along. It was just kind of tucked behind that stuff. So what I'm saying is when you add that whole thing, you should really go all the way around, point by point, and adjust the position to kind of, give them meaning. Kind of, you can maybe kind of round out this head by moving all those. I'm not going to do it right now because it's just a lot. But now I have a little bit more on the eyes. I like B for soft select, and that helps me get, here I can round these out a little bit better. So, whoops. So, getting there, I think. So now that's a little bit more shape to the eye, and of course you could spend more time on that, but I might, now I feel a little bit better about adding another edge loop or so, and then starting to work on, working an eyelid. Let's kind of, let me pull that out, maybe scale it in, and then, and then shape it more and kind of move it, point by point towards the eyeball. This is, see, I'm going to go back a little bit because I'm realizing it's just not that close. Like these points here really need probably move back. Just control select, deselecting those one at a time so that they're more conforming to that eyeball. Let's, whoops, get those Q to get that thing out of the way. Yeah, there's a little. Yeah, there's a few points in here that are got a little bit of a mess to clean up there. So you want to pull those out. But I think hopefully you're getting the idea. Get this to conform a little bit, then start working with these other edges, and you can not really wanting to pull that bottom part forward because it's already way too far forward. But maybe this top part, and maybe this part can even, oops, just shift double clicking to get those edges. Maybe this can even move back a bunch. And then at another edge, and start adjusting those positions, and then another loop, and keep kind of fleshing out to get this eyelid to form. Yeah, God, it's sort of a mess here. I think I could have cleaned it up a little bit better first before I started doing it. So, that's kind of the thing, is you'll really want to, and then you'll want to go in point by point and adjust the position. But again, there's other stuff to clean up first. But hopefully that's starting to give you a sense of, how you can kind of keep going kind of one loop at a time and adjusting the position and flesh out those eyelids. What else? Hands looking decent. Ultimately, you're going to need, anywhere it bends, kind of a rule of thumb is you'll need 3 edge loops. So if there's a knuckle there, you'll need 3 edge loops. The other thing is, if you look at these fingers, they're very blocky. They're very squared off. So, I might take these 3 and these 3 and, scale those in. And it's starting to get a little bit better shape, and then add some loops and kind of get a knuckle going. So maybe flatten these a little bit, but yeah, it's very blocky right now. Whoops. Scale those in, multi-cut. I keep hitting that key, that Windows key. And even you might even need to do that, to start really, if you want to get a knuckle in there. B for, whoops. Hold down B, click and drag to really narrow that down. Yeah, I'm really only getting the one, but not the most amazing knuckle in the world, but because we don't have that much detail, but you're getting something in there, and then you can also sort of maybe even take these 3, pull those up a bit, and so you're just starting to get a little bit more shape to the finger, and then you want to do that for these other ones here, kind of adding some detail and pulling that up and pulling this up, and it'll start to get a little more finger shape. Had some loops in the end, so you got the flat nail area and so forth. Yeah, still not much of a butt on this guy. Yeah, I don't know. One kind of cool trick, if you want things to kind of move outward from where they are, is if I double click on the move tool and move it in the normal direction, and it says UV and N, so you're going to grab this N one and see how it kind of, it sort of looks like it's moving straight back in this situation, but it's actually kind of, it's moving out. It almost looks like it's inflating a little bit. And then we can push maybe this back in a little, starting to look a little bit better. Whoa! So we don't want to go that far. But anyways, try to get that more shape. And then this thigh, that curve is just so extreme. I think I would kind of flatten that out a little bit. And actually, it could be that flattening out this thigh a little bit, so sort of moving those in is also going to kind of help with that other shape. Yeah, now that looks weird and big. So maybe, go back in and flatten that out. But then same here, just these are looking really extreme. Oh, not so great. Anyway, yeah, and you could probably do more on the feet and ankle stuff. But overall, this model, it's sound, it's good, it has pretty good topology. It's just starting to get some of the detail in there, maybe fleshing out the shoulders a bit, and I kind of this shape is just, I guess I don't know, it starts to look sort of female, like there's a chest on there, but so maybe flatten that a little bit. I think it's a male, right? So, anyways, overall good work, Cord, and keep going. Got Mark, okay, and I think that's it's called Human and Props. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, interesting stuff. Like that's a cool surface, like that. That I'm not a big fan of triangulating surfaces like this. Do we still have history? We don't. Oh, and the okay, and so this, yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to run into this a few times. So, if you are going to convert NURBS to Polygon, so perfect example. So I'll use this as an example, because this one's still NURBS. So I'll just duplicate it a couple times and show you the difference here. So that'll leave as NURBS. This I'm gonna do modify convert NURBS to polygons options, and let's just reset and use the default, and you'll see what I'm getting here. So I'm getting this really triangulated thing, which is probably what happened here. So that's the default, and it looks okay, but until you start to do things like if you want to edit that polygon surface, or when you're starting to do UV mapping to texturing, it's not that fun. But so this one's still oh yeah, that's just, yeah, since I didn't delete the original, I don't need the duplicate. So the options I prefer are modify, convert, NURBS to polygon options, control points. And what you get is this really, I'm going to set apart a center pivot, is this really simple polygon surface. And you'll notice when I hit 3, it looks just like the NURBS. And if I do mesh smooth, even when I hit 1, it's pretty darn close. And certainly when I press 3, it looks very similar. Or if I'm in 1 rough mode and I adjust the divisions to say 2, it's getting a little dense, but even in that 1 rough mode, these are almost indistinguishable. So, and then you have a nice clean topology. You don't have all these crazy triangles to deal with. So that is the settings that the other one you'll see is that I don't like is let's reset this. They change this to quads, but they don't turn on control points. And again, actually this one, it's not messing up as much. That looks okay. Sometimes you get so you get stuff like this, which is not good. So you ultimately end up with these big sort of multi-sided faces. So again, that is a good example. You don't want to do that. So again, just use control points. It's really straightforward. It just takes every vert and it turns it into polyvert. It takes every edge and turns it into a polygon edge. It's very straightforward, and then you can just smooth it and you end up with a surface that looks the same. Onto the character, I might just again go back to your NURBS version and use control points and then smooth it if you want. Okay, so yeah, coming along, I think yeah, these feet need some work. I think you need to add some more detail, open up the top, connect it to the leg, This is looking kind of very pinched and creased right here. So yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at how that edge is. I think it's yeah, it's this sort of weird kind of overlapping. Hit B to turn off smooth select. Oh, we should see if our symmetry. See, I already can tell that's not symmetrical, so you're going to want to mirror it again. But I'll just work on one side. Yeah, but you're going to want to go in and just adjust points here and really work on this shape and cleaning it up because it's a bit of a weird, messy shape. You're going to need additional detail at the knees. And again, this is, yeah, it's a little just kind of jagged mess here. You want to just kind of carefully, point by point, move around and clean that up. And again, I don't think these thumbs have progressed much, and this finger, yeah, it's got a lot of weird stuff. I mean, it's really, you really need to go back. You need to take this off and do the hand again. Just really follow the video, because that, you know, that hand's not going to work. It's just too many messy, kind of broken things. So, you know, get it back to where it was. What you can do is, you know, once you delete off the hand, is you can select those edges, double click on the edge. Is it edit mesh fill hole? Mesh. Yeah, it's mesh fill hole, and that puts that there, but that's not exactly what you want. You have to go and put those splits back in, you know, to make this a sound. Whoops. Just make sure it's snapping to those points. Yeah, I'm wondering if we got an extra. Are we good here? I think we're good. So you know, you can kind of go, you know, get those points better positioned, but oh, we've got an extra guy here. Yeah, I might want to take that out for now. You know, you can always put it back in later. Control delete to get rid of the edge. Oh no, that makes it a. Oh no, I think we're okay, right? Yeah, we're okay. No, so we're okay like that. Yeah, so just start over with on the hand and go back to the video, and again look for these really sort of tight areas like this. Don't have these so close together. So yeah, you really need to dig in there, kind of move around. It's again, I don't know why people are combining their eyeballs there. Mesh, separate, don't do that. So it's progressed a little bit, but I think it still has a ways to go and kind of work on this shape and add some more detail and kind of give them a butt and get some shape to the legs. You know, open up these feet, combine and merge the verts there, sort of clean up. This is all kind of jagged and uneven, and carefully move these points around the leg to get that. But yeah, and then re-mirror him. I think I've gone over that a couple times if you look at some of the videos. I can show it again real quick. Right view, left view, top view, left view. Okay. Whoops. So Control Shift will add to my selection. Just sort of double check that I got the whole half of the body, delete off that side, I don't like that hand anyways. Double click on this inside edge, make sure it went all the way around. Left view we said, make sure I'm in move mode. This is the Z direction. 0, enter. That, okay, yeah, I think I fixed this for your thing in the last video, but yeah, he needs to be at the origin, so I'm gonna hold down D and V, middle mouse drag, snap that to the crotch, click on here. Yeah, so yeah, we'll just move this over, hold down X for middle mouse, snap that to that center line. I can see that that moved it 0.073, which isn't that much. Oh yeah, so I think I'm going to have to just eyeball this for, the rest of him. So that's 0.138. Yeah, I think that's even the same number I did last time. So I'll move the rest of these that same amount, and that should be in place. Right mouse click edge, that edge is selected. 0 and Z, enter, it's flat. Object mode, Control D for duplicate, scale Z is -1. Oh, I don't think no, now I need to before I do that, I have to make sure the pivot point is precisely in the center, and that's where I'll hold down D and V, middle mouse snap, that's in the center. Okay, might want to say freeze transformation, modify, freeze transformation. I'm going quickly just because I've done this a lot of times on the videos, but just watch it slowly and replay it if it's going too fast. Control D for duplicate, scale Z -1, shift select, mesh combine, select all the verts, edit mesh, merge components, and now he should be symmetrical again. It's a little weird. Is there, oh, I think I had an extra duplicate in there. Now it's gone. Okay. So yeah, symmetrical again, and you can kind of move forward from there. So, yeah, I mean, a lot left to do on this guy, but keep going. I mean, it's certainly moved forward from the last one, version. And finally, yeah, Todd. So so yeah, this guy's looking really good. This, whoops. Oh, that's funny. I think that happened. That's because you have history on. If I had 4, you can see that it's purple when this is selected. So if I delete history, that'll stop happening. Let me just hide this for the moment. I can show it later. So yeah, this guy's looking really good. Yeah. I think that look out for stuff like this. You've got you've got that looped back up there, which is fine. But you've got these sort of intersecting surfaces here, so get in there and kind of clean that up. I didn't turn mirroring on, but you get the idea. And what you might want to do. Why are there so many edges right here? Is that just for the shape of the foot, the shoe? It seems a little bit extreme to get that shape. I'm not sure why there's so many edges right in that one area. Oh, and these populate to there, and some of them do, and some of them don't. Just trying to sort out what's happening there. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, you've got a fair amount. It just suddenly gets real dense in a couple of these parts, which isn't great. So if you can do it with less points, like what happens to us if we, I deleted that. Did the shape change much? Not really. See what I'm doing, Control Delete. And so well, that's kind of changing stuff a little bit, but see what I mean? Like you sort of have a similar shape, and then ultimately what I would do is try, and now look how much more even the topology looks. The squares look more even, and so get the shape as far as you can with the points you have. And then when see, I'm messing stuff up now, but when you and then when you add edges, get the shape as far as you can, and then at some point, if you really want to get that level of detail, you're just going to take the whole thing and smooth the whole thing. Is that, and now now you have loads of detail to play with. So, but then the topology is more even. So that's going to be a little bit better of a way to work. And you have plenty of detail, and now you can start, if you have more stuff you want to do on the shoe. So what I would do is take out some of those loops till the topology is a little more even, then smooth the whole thing, and then add the detail using those new edges that the smooth produced, so the topology remains more even. Yeah, but overall, this guy's looking really good. I mean, he's very usable. I did want to show one thing with the hat, which is what I showed before. Oh, there's a couple things. So here's your NURBS hat, and that's looking cool. You notice you have like an inside surface, so it's sort of doubled up, and we're never unless he takes his hat and puts it in front of the camera, we're not going to really see that inside surface, assuming the hat stays on his head. So, and this polygon surface. It's done this thing, and you have all these many-sided faces here because each of those edges is separate, so that's making this a many-sided face. So it's not a great topology. So the way I would rather do it is to, when you convert it, use NURBS polygon options, and instead of using quads, use control points. And it looks really blocky. Modify, center pivot, move. But you'll notice when I hit 3, it's smooth. We're probably going to want to get rid of those doubled up surfaces, but I can smooth it first. Doesn't matter. I'll hit smooth, and we're pretty much there. You could even, do more divisions if you want and get it really smooth. Looks good. Looks like the NURBS one now, right? But look at the topology here, where it's all uneven. It's got these many-sided faces. Look at that there. That's much more even, and they're all quads. So, but if we want to get rid of this inside, a good trick for selecting faces is if we select some of these in the center, and I probably should have done this before we so I'm just shift double clicking to get those. So I've got those, and now if I do use the greater than symbol on the keyboard, that's shift period, and you see how that just grows outward with each click. Shift period. So I went too far. Undo. Whatever we're not going to see, delete, and then I don't have to worry about those surfaces overlapping. You do have some stuff in here too that's intersecting. No, that's not going to work. Yeah, I mean, I guess really it would have been better to get rid of those faces and clean it up before we smooth. But then again, we're probably not going to see that either. You know what? We might see that bottom of that cap where it seems to be intersecting here a little bit. So yeah, see, it's moving both together because that's the way, unfortunately, soft select selects everything around it, even if it's not continuous. So yeah, I guess it would have been better to clean this up before you smoothed it, and then smooth it to get rid of that intersecting area. But yeah, looking really good. So I think that's what we have so far on this one. We're back to 1 again. So yeah, great work, and yeah, talk to you soon.